software. And well, Hemani, thank you so much to invite me to be here with all of you today. I will appreciate, good evening for me, it's good morning. It's 8:30. I'm here in Mexico. In Mexico, I live in the southwest of Mexico. It's in a place that is called Villahermosa, Tabasco. And well, it's a good morning for me, so good evening for all of you. And well, if you have any question, any doubt, or whatever that you want to say or to express during the presentation, please, I will appreciate if you write it down in the chat section. So thank you so much to be here. I have 28 assistants, 28 with me. Okay, I welcome all of you. I all the time mention the name of all the assistants, but you are a lot of assistants today, so I'm really sorry. But welcome everyone. And well, I think it is time for us to start because we have I have an hour to show you all the tools that we have inside Atlas TI, and just they are really a lot of tools, and I have just an hour to show you. Okay, so let's start. My name is Verónica de la Cruz Villegas. I am a project assistant in Atlas TI, project coordinator in Atlas TI, and well, I have organized this presentation into 3 important steps. In my first moment, I am going to be introducing Atlas TI in very general terms. After that, I want to show you the step-by-step working with Atlas TI for your qualitative data analysis. And at the end, using a sample project, I want to work with these important tools for your qualitative data analysis. At the end of the presentation, probably in 2 hours, okay, after the presentation, you will receive the video just in case that you want to check, okay, all the process that I follow. And well, what is Atlas TI? Atlas TI is a computer-assisted qualitative data analysis software, better known as CACDAS. And today we are working with version 22. Atlas TI is a software with a lot of history, and it has evolved a long time. Nowadays, as I told you, we are working with version 22 and version 4, your Windows, your Mac system. We also have the web, the Atlas TI web, and we have the possibility to have access to the app of Atlas TI for your cell phone and for your tablet or iPad. Something important about Atlas TI from version number 9 and now in version 22, it is that when you get a license of Atlas TI, basically you get access to all the platforms. When you get the license, you get the possibility to download the license for your Windows, for your Mac, and to have access to the web. And of course, the apps are completely free for all of you. We have different type of licenses in Atlas TI. We have the free trial license, the free trial version with 5 functional days, and this is important to mention because you've been working with all the tools that we have in Atlas TI with this free trial, but you're going to be able to use it just for 5 days. After the 5th day, the system closed, and you won't have any possibility to work with the software, just to see information that you have inside. We also have the web-only license with a monthly subscription and a desktop web license with yearly subscription. And this is for one user, multiple user, and for the campus in this case of different institutions or universities. I want to recommend you 2 sections in the website of Atlas TI. The learning section, because in this section you will find information about the following webinar, free demo webinars, premium webinars. You will find information from the blog of Atlas TI, and you will also get video tutorials for. And the other is the support section, because if you get a license of Atlas TI, doesn't matter the type of license that you get, but if you get a license of Atlas TI, you get free support, perpetual support. You will have it all the time, 24 hours, okay, per day, 5 days per week, from Monday to Friday. You can get support by phone, by email address, and by chat. This is important. For you, for me, and for you, of course. Just to be here, and I always say that this is too much. I mean, to be an hour sitting opposite the computer, listening to me, it's too much to say, okay, too much. So just because of that, you get a 10% of discount. Oh my God, you must receive more because of that. Okay, a 10% of discount for your licenses, except the web, because remember that the web has a monthly subscription, and for all the courses that we have in Atlas TI. I am a professor in a university in Mexico, and I think that is why I all the time try to link qualitative research, qualitative studies with the work that you do using Atlas TI in your qualitative studies. In very general terms, because I am sure that you are experts on this, in very general terms, qualitative research is that type of study in which you analyze the experience of people. And when you analyze the experience of people, basically you are analyzing the interaction among people. Inside this interaction, we have a discourse. The discourse is the answer to the what question, basically the problem. So what is the problem? And people, they are talking about the problem. Remember that in this interaction is that we have the experience that you are studying as a researcher. Atlas TI will help you on the analysis of the content of this what, of this problem, of this interaction. Qualitative research is that methodological procedure for the construction of knowledge of social reality. And you will be using Atlas TI, and you will be analyzing the discourse inside the interaction among people to get the construction of the knowledge of social reality or of social life. So basically, you are going to be analyzing all this interaction, all these experiences using Atlas TI, and using as an important tool the discourse of people. Atlas TI facilitates the analysis of unstructured and non-numerical data. And basically, it means that when you work with Atlas TI, basically you are working on the identification of themes, patterns, and meanings. Remember that the study of meaning is really, really important in qualitative studies. Atlas TI also keeps the analysis process completely organized, transparent, and integrated for you. And this is fantastic when we have a lot of data to analyze in our study. It allows team collaboration, and it combines qualitative and quantitative. Perhaps some of you ask why quantitative tools when we are talking about a qualitative software. It is because Atlas TI recognized that some of us, I am included, work with a mixed approach to our data. And basically, we are working with a quantitative and a qualitative component in our study. If this is the case, well, you can combine qualitative and quantitative analysis tools, because Atlas TI use all the data that you introduce, all the qualitative data, and transfer this data into numbers. And then you are going to be able to use these numbers into your quantitative software. And we also have quantitative and qualitative tools inside. It permits triangulation, and it supports data analysis in documents with different formats, for example, text formats, PDF, audios, videos, graphics, and geodata documents. And you can also import data from your Twitter account, from your Evernote, your reference management software, just to give you examples. And you can also work with your Excel files. Nowadays, it is really, really easy to work with Excel files inside Atlas TI and to add more information. As I told you, I think that it is because I am a professor. I need to show you the basic concepts in Atlas TI, because at the time that you are going to be writing the results of your study, you will need these basic concepts to express all the work that you were doing with the software. And these basic concepts are individual concepts and groupal concepts. We have, and they are called, in general, they are called entities. The individual entities are documents, quotations, codes, memos, and networks. And the groupal entities, they are the entities groups, the document group, the code group, the memo group, and the network group. So we have entities in Atlas TI, and entities because they give life to the software. At the beginning, I mentioned that we have quantitative and qualitative tools. In our quantitative tools, we have the word cloud, the code per document table, And in our qualitative tools, we have the Cocurrency Explorer, the Query Tools, and the Smart Codes. These are our quantitative and qualitative tools. When exactly you can be using Atlas TI? Because most of the time, some people think that, well, after we come from the field with all the data, and it is not exactly that time. You can be using Atlas TI before, during, and after you come to the field, after your qualitative data analysis. Why before, or when exactly before? At that time in which you are working with your literature review, and that particular one that leads to the theoretical and methodological foundation of your study. So basically, at the time that you are working with your state of arts, with your theoretical chapters or any theoretical section that you have in your study, you can be using Atlas TI because basically it is qualitative analysis, data analysis. During, and I mean after you come from the field with all the data, to organize all your qualitative data, because remember that Atlas TI helps you on the organization of all your data. And after, as an important tool for you to illustrate all the results of your study, because inside of Atlas TI, we have networks, we have graphics, we have diagrams, we have the Sankey diagram, we have the bar diagram. So you have important things to illustrate all the results of your study. And well, I think it was enough about theory, because what you want to see is the software. How can you be working with the software in your qualitative study? Yes or no, Remani? That is what you want. Okay, well, let's go to the official icon of Atlas TI. That is the one that I have here on my right. Let's click on twice. And now we will go to the welcome screen of this software, Atlas TI in version 22. This is the welcome screen. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns and an information bar. In the first column on the left, you will see the official icon of Atlas TI. After that, you see an icon with your initials. In this case, it is BD because my name is Veronica Della. So BD, my initials. If you click on here, you will find the possibility to go to your Atlas TI account where you have all the information about your licenses, to see information about the current license that you have, and to log out or restart the system. Then a welcome message. After that, you have an icon for creating a project and another icon for importing a project. Just in the case that you started working with the web, you export from the web and then you keep on working with the desktop version, okay? And at the end here below, you see the word options. If you click on here, you see 3 important sections here: application preferences, project preference, and Atlas TI. In application preferences, you will find the possibility to change the language, to switch the language, to change the color from the original color to dark. Okay, this is beautiful, but it doesn't work for me because I have problems with my eyes. So let me leave here the original color, okay? Well, and to switch the library from one place in your computer to a different place, okay, the place where you want to save everything, okay? I'm ready. Yes, okay. Okay, okay, let me see how much I can see about the question that you have here in the chat, okay? Let me see how much we can advance with this to answer this question, because you are talking about the graphic, okay? So let me see graphic theory. So let me see if we can see too much about that, okay? And well, as I told you, in project preferences, you can change some things in the visualization of the software. In Atlas TI, you can find here the possibility to send a problem report, to send suggestions to the programmers of Atlas TI, and to see information about the current license that you have. Okay, well, let's see for the okay, okay. I have read your question. Okay, well, you have a lot of questions. Overview, I think you have very, very specific things to see. Okay, and for example, you say for a literature review, I can give you tips. Okay, in the case of graphic theory and how to analyze graphic, okay, things. I have another webinar for that. Okay, this is an overview, so just let me see. Okay, how much I can show in talking about these specific needs that you have. Okay, what I understood, Ramani, what I understood is that you need an overview, you need an introduction to Atlas TI, but I see that some of you have specific needs. Okay, so I don't know if all of you know the software. Can you help me? All of you know the software, basic things about the software, because this is what I understood from the request. Remani, can you help me? Okay, thank you. Because as I told you, I have a specific webinars. If you want anytime, I can show you how to work, okay, with graphic theory, how to work, how to analyze this, and give you using Atlas TI and provide a lot of things for you, okay? And well, thank you. Okay, and well, after that, what you find is your projects, all the active projects that you have with all the information inside. For example, 3 documents. Here I have 3 documents, 27 quotations, 30 codes, and 12 memos. Then we have a column for news from Atlas TI, from the Journal of Atlas TI, news from, or news about the following webinar, free webinar or premium webinars. Resources, well, resources, okay, manuals of the different platforms that we have in Atlas TI and some sample projects for you. And in the information bar, you will find a lot of tutorials for you, okay? Well, how do you start working with the software? Just go here to this icon, click on new project, and now Atlas TI asks you to introduce here the name for a project and a comment for the project. What is my recommendation? My recommendation is, in the case of the project name, try to write short names all the time for all the entities, Why? Because at the time that you want to work with your networks or with your tables, everything short names. Today, we are going to be working with a sample project that we have here in Atlas TI that is called Children and Happiness. Children and Happiness, okay? And in the case of comment, my recommendation is to write a brief description of the project, okay? Brief description, or you can also leave here messages for your teamwork if you are working by team. Try to leave here messages, for example, to say, today I work with this code or with this category in my study or with this variable in my study, but tomorrow I want your help in this or this activity. Just leave messages here if you want. Click on create, and now we will go directly to the interface of Atlas TI, okay? Well, what you find here? We have 7 core tabs here at the top, 7 core tabs with a lot of tools inside. Then on the left, you can see the Explorer with the information that you have inside each entity. We have document, code, memo, network. Remember that they are the entities. Opposite you see the name of the project. You see information about the entities. We have 0 at this time. We have 0 because we have nothing inside the project. And information about the person who created the project, the date and the time in which the project was created. And of course, information about the current version that you have or that you are using. Okay, what is what we have in the 7 core tabs? First tab, this is File. In File, you find the possibility to export, merge, close, and to log out the system, to leave the system. You also have the possibility to get a snapshot. When exactly you can be working with a snapshot? When you finish a previous study, when you finish a study and you identify contributions or identify new research lines, and you say, well, now I want to start a new study, working with a new research line, but using the base of the previous, of the results of the previous study. So you just get a copy, a snapshot of the previous study and get information that you need to start. Just to give you an example, in Home, I always say that Home is the beginning of everything, because if you don't add information here, you have nothing to work with the system. Here in Home, you have the possibility to add documents, to create your first entities. The most important are codes, memos, and networks, to edit some comments over the project, and to work with all the managers, the entities managers. Inside each manager, you have the possibility to create the entity, and to get all the outputs, all the information that you have inside the software. In Search and Code, you find some tools, some important tools for you to go quickly to very specific information, okay, inside your documents. Basically, a quick search. In Analyze, you find 4 important tools for you to have everything completely organized and ready for your qualitative data analysis. In Import and Export, you will find the possibility to add more information here inside the software, and to export the quantitative information or data, and to transfer this to your quantitative tools or software. In Tools, you have the possibility to manage all the users, okay, if you are working by team. And in Help, something similar to what you find in Options, the possibility to send a report, to send suggestions, okay? And well, let's start working with the software. To start working with the software, we have to go Home. For grounded theory, in fact, this is like the theoretical and methodological foundation of this software, grounded theory. Yes, that is true. Okay, well, in the case of qualitative studies, but of course that it provides important information or quantitative data if you want to transfer some of the information from your qualitative data to your quantitative component in your study if you're working with a mixed approach. Okay, and well, how do you start? Let's go Home. Let's click on Add Files. Here you can add one file or an image, for example, if you want. Just look for the information inside your computer. Here I have some documents. Let me get the image. Click on Open, and now you will see the image here. Let's close this. Home, Add Document, Add Folder Content. Here, let's look for the folder in which I have all the information. For example, here, click on Select Folder. And now you will see that all the documents inside this folder, they are 12, are going to be added inside the system. You will see an error message here. This is not from Atlas DI, this is from my computer. I have a problem with my students, with my computer at this time, but all the documents are here inside the software. Okay, I have 13 documents now. They are Word documents, they are PDF documents. Let's go Home, Add Documents, Add Linked Video or Audio. Let's look for the video. It's here, select and open. Now it's inside the software. Home, Add Video, Audio. Let me select the audio now. It's here, open, and now it is inside the software. Let's go Home, Add Document. Next, new text document. Let's create a text document inside the software. For example, if you want to write a discourse of your chapter 1, that is about your state. Oh, I'm sorry. The state of art. You can start writing and writing and writing the discourse of your chapters here inside the software, okay, in the same way in which you work with a Word file, okay? And you will find some of the tools inside this kind of softwares. For example, the possibility to change the font, to change the size, to change the color. Let's see here. To highlight something, okay, to center the information, well, some of the tools. You also can add here a picture if you want or you need it for your study. Okay, let me show you. Here, we have the picture here. And if you are working perhaps with your with a focus group and you have to write the transcription of this interview, you can insert date and time, okay? All the time. You are working here with an edit mode, but if you want to close the edition, go to the top, document, exit edit mode, click on here, and now you will see that you don't have the possibility to keep on working inside the document. But if tomorrow you want to keep on working on this, let's go, document, edit. And now you can continue writing here inside the document. Let me close the edition mode and close the document. Let's go home, add document, Geo Document. Okay, here you have the possibility to show the context of your study, the location of your study. And in qualitative studies, remember that the context talks too much, because basically in the context we have the specifications of the problem, of the location. Okay, here we have the word map. And what you can do here, it is to go document, click on query address, write the location. I want to take all of you, okay, and to go together to a place in Mexico that is called Zócalo, okay. It's an important in the center of Mexico. The Zócalo. Here, as you can see, Atlas CI provides a lot of possibilities for you. You just have to select the one that best describes the context, okay, and you can all the time manipulate this, to move this all the time, to move the location if you want, because perhaps you are not working with the Zócalo in your study, but with a place closer to the Zócalo, so you can be moving the location all the time. If you want, you can get like a picture of this. If you go to document, create snapshot, and now we have document 18, that is a picture of the location. Now we are ready to start coding. How do you start coding? Well, before that, I want to show you something here. Well, at this time, we have all the documents ready to start coding. But let's think that you have two documents of the same document inside the software. Just go to the document, right-click, and click on delete. If you see that you have a document with a long extension in the title, in the name, and Veronica de la Cruz told you that she recommends to write short names for the project, go to the document, right-click, and let's rename. I know that this document is about teaching and learning, okay, English in the context of inclusive education, okay? Click on rename, and now the name, okay, was renamed, okay? Well, let's imagine that you want to work with your state of art and or your literature review, and you have lot of data, okay, and documents to analyze. My recommendation is try to leave all the time over the name of your document a comment. Right-click, edit comment. What can you leave over the document? Perhaps a brief description of the content of this document, or to leave perhaps the abstract, or a reflection from you about the content of this document, okay? To save the comment, click on save or click on the cross icon, okay? Save. Now, we have a small point in yellow here that means that you have a comment over the document. Well, what else? My recommendation is try to have everything completely organized before coding. how can you organize your documents? Click on twice over document, and you will go immediately to the document manager. This is the document manager, okay? Here you can start organizing all your documents into group of documents. For example, let's say, okay, let's select some of them. Let's imagine that all these documents are going to be for your state of art. State of art. Click on create. And now we have our first group of documents. Let's imagine that these documents are the transcription of the interviews. Let's drag them here and write transcriptions, interviews. Okay, click on create. And now you know that all the documents inside these groups are going to be just for these purposes. If you want to add or if you want to delete some of the documents that you have inside, you can do it all the time. Okay, here, remember that we are in the document manager, but now we have groups. So we can go to the Explorer to click on twice over a document group, go to the group, for example, transcription, and perhaps you say, well, I finished with this, or I don't need this because the information doesn't provide too much for my analysis, too much information for my analysis. So I want to leave this document out. Select, click on here, and the document is out of the group of documents. Let's say, well, perhaps I want inside this group, these other interviews or transcriptions. Click on here and you will have them inside the group. Here, inside the group, you can start coding. You can create your first networks using the information that you have inside the group of documents. Well, let me close here. Now we are ready to start coding. How do you start coding? You have different possibilities. You can code using a manual way for coding, or you can use a quick search. We have two possibilities to work with quick search. For example, let's select this document. When you open a document, you see some tools here at the top. There is one that is called search document. Let's click on here. The system asks you to introduce a word, the word that you want to look inside this document. For example, inclusion, enter, and the system identifies 94 inclusion words inside this document. So you can go, if you want, one by one. This is my recommendation. Just try to be all the time sure that the content of this segment of information is exactly what you need for your analysis. Okay, so what is what follows here? Just start reading the information that you have around the word inclusion and decide what is exactly what you need for your analysis. For example, let's say that I want to save this information because this is important for my analysis. Right click. You can click on create free quotation. When do you create a free quotation? When you are working with an inductive approach to your data. You have codes that you are going to be using in your study or the categories in your study. You don't know which are going to be these codes. But eventually, as soon as you advance with your analysis, you will identify the correct concept for this segment of information. If this is the case, go to the quotation, right click, and let's click on apply code. You can create a code or apply one of the codes that you have inside the software. For example, let's say that this segment of information is about the definition of inclusion. Enter or click on the plus icon here. And now you have a code applied over this quotation. And in this way, you can keep on working. Just decide what is exactly what you need for your analysis. Okay, correctly, please. Right click, and you can apply, for example, quick coding. Quick coding applies the previous code used, okay, in the document or in a previous document, okay, the last code used. In this case, definition of inclusion. Okay, in this way, you apply a quick search, but you have more possibilities for quick search. Let's go to the tab, search and code. Here we have 4 tools: text search, regular expression search. These two work in exactly the same way. Name entity recognition and sentiment analysis, they work in the same way. We also have word cloud, word list, and concept. I want to show you how to work with them. Let's apply text search. If you want to look for 1 word or 2 words inside a document, let's go to text search. Here, just decide where exactly you want to be looking for this information here, and click on continue. Now write the word that you want to look for, inclusion. Okay, you can add more, inclusion, education, for example, like in inclusive education, or click on include inflected forms. For example, inclusion, inclusive, including. And the system will look for this word inside the 3 documents that were selected by you. And you will get paragraph, okay, or sentences in which this word is included. Now, you have 2 possibilities here. Or you select all of them and apply 1 code for all of them, or you go one by one, read information, and just try to be sure that this is what you need for the analysis, and select the segment of information, go to the top in apply code, and create, okay, let's say that this is about teachers, perhaps profiles, okay, enter, and we have a new code here, teacher's profile, but you can also apply another here to the same quotation, okay? In this case, we are like giving a form to, or giving life to co-occurrences, because we have 2 codes over the same segment of information. What happened with the others? Nothing. If you don't apply a code, nothing happens, so forget about them. Let's close here. Okay, in exactly the same way, we work with regular expression search. Let me show you how to work with name entity recognition. In name entity recognition, you will identify the name of people, the name of places, the name of organizations. Just select the document in which you want to look for this information, these 3, click on continue, and now decide which entities do you want to look for inside the documents: persons, locations, organizations, or miscellaneous. In my experience, I don't use miscellaneous because it brings too much. And I want to go directly to very, very specific information in my case, but you can work and use it in different ways, of course. Okay, I want to look for these specific entities. Let's click on continue. And now you will see a filter. You have to indicate Atlas TI what is exactly what you need. For example, Alexandria is the name of a location. Let's say yes. Americans is an organization, yes. And Apolla is the name of a person, yes. Okay, what else? ASBO is the name of a, yes. Okay, so just decide what is exactly what you need, and click on show results. Here the same, you see the segment of information, just read, just decide what is exactly what you need, but you have 2 possibilities here. Or you go to apply code and select one of the codes that you have here inside the system, or go to apply proposed code. In this case, the proposed code, according to the word that was identified by the system, was persons and Apollo. Yes, I want to have this code over this quotation. Now, 2 codes were applied, okay? Let's close here. And what else? In this case, remember that we were working with a quick search, but you can also work in a manual way. Just go to the document and start reading, define or decide what is exactly what you need for the analysis, right click, and let's apply a code, okay? Definition of inclusion, okay? This is the manual way, right, to code your data here inside Atlas TI. Right click and let's apply a code in vivo. When do you apply a code in vivo? When you identify really for example, your study, for example, a contribution, for example, a new research line, okay, you want to save this information with exactly the same words, and you don't want to forget that this is something important for you and for your study. You just apply a code in Vivo, okay? The name of the code is exactly the same content of the quotation. What else? If you are working, for example, with your state of art, if you are working with a lot of transcriptions and you want to know what is exactly what the person is talking about before starting reading by line, my recommendation is go to the top, document, word cloud. Click on word cloud. You will see in the word cloud the frequency of the words. So how many times the word is inside this document, okay? This is the frequency of each word inside the document. If you want to see which are like the most important words inside, you can apply the threshold and to see what is exactly what the document is talking about. For example, here we know that this is about inclusion, that we are talking about inclusion not just of teacher, but also students. We are talking about the context of Mexico, that we are talking about perhaps policies. Okay. You are a linguist. Well, this is an important tool for your analysis. Why? Because you also have the possibility to work with the identification of the parts of the speech. For example, if you go to this icon and click on here and you say, I want to get all the actions that are mentioned inside this document, just select verbs, click on over the cloud, and you will see all the verbs, okay? Parts of a speech. I want to see the verbs, the adjective, and the adverbs. Let's click on over the cloud, and you will see exactly what you asked Atlas AI to show you. You can get an image of this. If you click on here, image, you will get it for the extension for your study, for the analysis of your study. What else? When you open a document, you can go to the top, document, concepts. Here you will see another word cloud, but what is the difference between the previous one and this one? The difference is that in the case of the previous one, you can see the frequency of all the words inside. And remember that we have articles, we have prepositions, so all the words inside the document. But in the case of concepts, you get the most important concepts inside the document. So basically what the document is talking about. If you are working with an inductive approach to your data, you don't know at this time the concepts, okay, inside the problem that you are studying, and you are working with a lot of transcriptions. Basically, people who were interviewed are providing the most important concepts according to their experience, okay, living the problem. Or in the case of a state of art, you get the most important concepts according to the content of the discourse of these articles. So these are the most important concepts inside each document, okay? So let me close here. Well, at this time, we have already code documents, but let me show you how to work with a video. Video and audio, they work exactly in the same way. We have to play the video and the audio. When you identify the beginning of an important segment of information, let's go to the top, click on mark position, and at the end of the segment of information, click on create quotation. Let's practice this. Mark position. Create quotation. Okay, we have a quotation ready. You can see here the possibility to replay and replay and replay this segment of information. This is just to help you to identify the segment of information, okay? You can expand and reduce the selection all the time. We have the quotation ready. Now go to the quotation, right click, and let's apply a code. Let's say a quick coding, okay? In this way, you work with video and an audio. If you have an image, just go to the image, select the segment of information that you want for your analysis, right click, and let's apply a code or apply the code in video, okay? Here, we have all the documents ready. Something that I want to show you is that sometimes when we are working with an interview or with a paper, we identify that the person who was interviewed mentioned something at the beginning of the interview, and then the person mentioned something different at the end of the interview. And basically, this is a contradiction. And you want to leave this contradiction inside the software. How do you leave these relations here? Just go to the document, identify the segment of information, for example, this one. And let's imagine that we know or we identify that this quotation that is inside the video has a relation with the content of this quotation. Just select the quotation and drag it to the other quotation. And leave, this is a contradiction. You will see a circle in orange. It means that you have a hyperlink, okay? A hyperlink, that is the name. Okay, talking about the concepts and the codes. You have to group your codes, and we have a new way to organize the code inside the software. Because if you remember, the word cloud shows the words. Now you know, you get the idea of the possible concept or the possible codes of your study, and you have to create the code according to these concepts. You can organize all the codes inside the software if you want, okay? Now that I finished with this, I will show you how to organize and reorganize all the time your concepts inside the software. Okay, in this way, you can work with hyperlinks. We were working with two different documents, but you can also leave hyperlinks inside the same document. Just select the first quotation and drag it to the following, to the other, and leave the relation, for example, explains, okay? Here, select, drag, and leave the relation, criticize. Okay, you are applying hyperlinks. Remember, hyperlinks, and they are going to be really, really important, okay, in your analysis. Basically, they have a very important relation with your concurrencies. Well, now we know how to code all the documents. Let's work with codes. At this time, we have 4 codes. 1, 2, 3, 4 codes inside. Okay, let me close all the document because I want to show you how to work with these documents. If you click on twice over the name code, you go immediately to the code manager. Remember when we were working with the document manager, we organize everything in group. You can also organize your codes by group, but you have more possibilities now. How? Let's go. Here, for example, if you want, you can give a color ID for your codes. Let's select here. Let's go to the top, change color. This for this code. Perhaps I want this for this other because they are important categories in my study. So you decide the color ID for your code. You can also, from here, create new codes. Let me write new code 1. Because I want to show you something, new code 2, and let's say new code 3, just to give you an example. Okay, how can you organize your codes? The first organization that you can be doing or working here is selecting some of the codes, drag them, and let's say that all of these codes are or were identified, okay, in or for my state of art. Okay, just to give you an example, and that these codes are going to be really, really useful at the time that I'm going to be working with the definition of inclusion. This is like the first organization, perhaps because you want to divide them into the codes that you were using in your state of art and the codes that you got from the data that you got from the field. I don't know. You decide how exactly do you want to be using this organization. But inside here, you have more possibilities. You can go to new folder. Let's say that this organization is for social interaction in the context of inclusive education. Let's create the folder. And what I want to say here is that these codes, these 2 codes are properties of this important category or code in my study. That code number 2 is a property of my code number 1. Let's move the code. Code number 3, I want to say that is a property of my code number 1. Move the code. Now you can see that we have a code 3 because we have a folder, and inside the folder, we have some of our codes, and inside some codes, we have more codes. Look at this. Inside new code 1, I have code 2 and code 3. So in this way, you can be organizing all the time all your data. Here in the Explorer, you can see exactly the same organization, okay? But the first organization that you can do is by group if you want, if it is easy for you, if it works for you, fantastic, but fantastic. So you decide how exactly you want to organize your code inside the software. And from here, as I told you at the beginning, for example, if you select here, you can delete, you can edit, you can change the color, you can work with a network. So you can apply some of the regular tools that we have outside this manager. Let me close here. Now we have code here, apply. Now you have another possibility to work with networks. Let's go home, click on new entities and click on new memo. What is a memo? Or what is a memo for? A memo is like a Word document in which you can leave here important, but really, really important information. For example, contributions, new research lines, perhaps your research diary, or perhaps you want to leave here your research questions. For example, I want to leave here my research question number 1, okay? Click on create, and now I have a memo with the name of research question 1. Let's go document. Let's open a document. And here, for example, I have this quotation. Let's imagine that you identify inside this quotation really important information to answer your research question number 1. And you want to leave the relation now, at this time. Let's go to the memo, research question 1, and drag it to this quotation. Now we have the relation. And at the time that you get all the output of your research question number 1, and there you will find all the evidences that you need to answer your research question number 1. This is a tip. This is a tip for you. Okay, now let's go to networks. How can you work with networks? Let's go home, click on new entities, new network. Okay, let's say that this network is for the definition of inclusion. Okay, click on create. I'm going to go quickly because of the time. Yes, you can add all the time documents to your folder, codes to your folder, codes to your, add all the time, documents, codes to your groups, all the time. So you decide, okay, what you want and what you need inside each group. Okay. Yes, do you remember that when we were working with the code group and the documents group, at the top we have edit comments. You can leave all the time comments over the group, over each entity, all the time. Okay, over a network if you want. Okay, here we have a new window to create a network if you want. We have different possibilities to create a network. Let's go to nodes, add nodes, and here select what you need for your network. I'm going to select all of them. Okay, and click on add, or just drag them here inside. Add, and now you have all the code here, but I want to show you this. We have some links ready. Why do you have these links here? Do you remember that at the time that we were coding, we identified relations between documents and we left hyperlinks? These are the hyperlinks. So basically, if you work and analyze and find a lot of relations among all your documents, your networks will appear by default because you analyze all these relations before, at the time that you were working with your content data analysis. And now it is by default. So what you can do here, it is just to keep on defining more relations if you want. For example, okay, we want to leave this relation. Oh, no, it's the folder. I forgot this. Sorry. This is the folder. We cannot leave a relation here. Okay, so let me go back. And back. I cannot move this here. So, I'm trying to go back. Okay, here. Well, we are in the go. Let me go to the network. It's here. The network is ready. Okay. And well, we have some nodes here ready. You can let me apply fit to window. Let's go here. Okay. Here and here. If you want, you can apply layout and to get one the design that we have here inside. Circular. Just decide, okay, what is exactly what you need. Okay. And perhaps to define more relations here. Okay, I want to say that this is cause of. Here, perhaps I want to say that there is a relation between these two and that this is associated with. Okay, so in this way, you can keep on working with your networks. Just select, okay, and link. And that's it, define the relation. Okay, what else? Inside each node, we have a lot of information. Let's go here. Definition of inclusion, right click and click on add neighbors, and let's say quotations. Look at this. We have quotations with a lot of hyperlinks. So basically, these are quotations, okay, that are talking about the presence of this category in your study, of this code in your study. But at the same time, this code or this quotation or this specific code has a relation with other codes or categories in your study, because according to this relation, okay, some of them are having links, so some of them are having relation. So you can be working all the time with your networks, defining different, okay, designs for this. Look at it, it looks beautiful. Okay, and well, this is networks. And finally, how can you be working with your analysis? So let's go, I'm going to leave the project, let me close here, and let's go to analyze. Here we have Cocurrency Explorer, Cocurrency Table, Code per Document Table, and Query Tool. Let's go to Cocurrency Explorer. What is the Cocurrency Explorer for? Just to show you if we have co-occurrences or not inside the project. And if we have co-occurrences, what is having a concurrency? We have a concurrency in the definition of inclusion code. And here you can see the evidence of this concurrency inside this document. And I am sure that we are facing a concurrency with other different codes. So basically the Explorer says if we have concurrencies or not, okay? As we know that we have concurrencies and perhaps which codes are having a concurrency, let's click on co-occurrency table. Here you see 3 columns. In the first column, you have all the codes inside the project. Let me close here because I want to show you one project with a lot of codes inside. In this way, you can see the analysis. Okay, let me close here. Sorry, select here. And let's go to analyze co-occurrency table. Okay, according to this study, well, and according to the Explorer, I know that there is a relation between the code level of happiness and the effects positive and effects negative, also effects negative. But I want to show the effects positive to show you the way in which you can work with this. At the top, you can see the concurrency table, and below you see the bar chart. That is, this is the chart. Okay, you see a number. Basically, this is the count. This is the amount of concurrencies that the system identified between these 2 important codes. In the case of level of happiness and personal growth, we have 4 concurrencies. But in the case of level of happiness and positive emotions, we don't have relations. We don't have concurrencies. So let's leave this code out. If you click on over the number, you will see on the right the evidence of the concurrency. And basically, you need this concurrency to talk about the story of the problem. If you want, you can export all these evidences of the concurrency to an Excel file. What else? You can see the coefficient here. If you are working with your quantitative component in a mixed study, you can use this table and you can use this bar because basically they show quantitative data. So remember the Explorer, if we have or no cocurrencies. The table and the bar, how many cocurrencies are there. But if you are working just with a qualitative approach in your study, let's click on Sankey. Sankey is a diagram that comes from an area in which the energy is important. To study the energy is important. And when they talk about the energy, they also talk about the fluency of this energy. So basically, the Sankey's diagram is talking about how important it is, the relation of these two codes, okay, in the problem. People are attributing importance to this relation, okay, among these important codes. And you can use them to talk about the picture of this story, to talk about the problem, okay? If you select the tick bar, you can see where exactly is the cocurrency and which are the two codes that are having a cocurrency and to talk about the importance of this relation in the problem. So basically the Sankey's diagram is talking about the importance of the relation among these codes. If we go to analyze and go to code document table, at this time we know that we have cocurrencies, how many cocurrencies are there and how important is the relation. But now we want to know where exactly is the information about this cocurrency. So let's go to children level of happiness, and according to the table, we have an important relation with personal growth. Let's click on over the document or over the code group or the document group, and let's identify where exactly is the information. Look at this. According to the table and the bar, in document number 3, we have a lot of information, and we have information about the cocurrency. So let's leave this document alone here. You can get the table and the bar if you want for your study. Click on twice over the name of the document, and you go immediately to the cocurrency. Here you can start reading and trying to work with a deeper analysis about these cocurrencies. And finally, if you go to analyze query tool, you can go, or we can work on an energy mix. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay. Abhishek, thank you so much for the comment. Okay, and well, let's see. Where am I? Okay, here. We are in query tools, working with query tools. Query tools is to help you on very specific thematic analysis, okay? If you want to talk about the relation or no, okay, between some specific codes or among all the codes, you can go and work with query tools. For example, I want to see if there is a relation between children level of happiness, of course that at this time I know that we have relation, children level of happiness, just select and drag to the first point, and with effects positive in positive emotions, select and drag. According to the Explorer and the table, there is no relation. If you click on here, exactly, there is no relation between these important codes in your study. So let's go, select and delete. But I remember that we have an important relation with personal growth. And immediately you see below, okay, the evidence of this cocurrency. You have the quotations and you can just go read and analyze the discourse of people in this specific relation. If you want to say, well, I want to see if there is a relation or not between effects, personal growth or fulfillment, let's drag it, click on here, and you will see the evidence of this important relation when we are talking about level of happiness. Personal growth when you are talking about level of happiness. Okay, here we are talking about the relation between two codes when we are talking about this. Okay, and you can keep on adding and adding and adding more and more all the time if you want. Okay, let's select here. Yes, I want to work with this to say this and this order. So let's look for and add more codes if you want, and to keep on analyzing specific things in your study. Okay, and well, this is about the analysis. Thank you, Ramani. Thank you. So you can be working all the time. So you decide what relation is the relation that you want to show in your study. Something important that we have to consider is that talking about qualitative studies, remember that the relation is important. Interaction is important, not just among people, also among all your codes. Because if you don't use or work with this interaction among codes, basically you are not talking about the full story of the picture. You are just talking about fragments of the picture. And no, in qualitative studies, we want to see the whole picture of the story, okay? And well, finally, if you go home and go to all the managers, you can get all the outputs and to get all the specific information that you have inside each manager. For example, if you go to the code manager, here you can select all the codes and to click on report and get a report in Word of all the quotations that you have inside or all the information that you have inside this, okay? What else? If you want to know just information about children level of happiness, what is what you have inside children level of happiness, click on, select the code and click on report and you will get that specific information, okay? And well, we have more to show you, but as I told you, I just showed you two other webinars. Ramani, for example, if you need a specific webinar for to see this section, import and export, and to know how to work with questionnaires, for example, how to work with comments from Facebook or from YouTube, I recommend you to ask, okay, to apply for a new webinar, and you will see all this specific information, okay? And well, this is all from my part. Thank you so much to be here. And I don't want to leave the session without showing something important for your analysis. I'm sorry, I think that this is something that you need. If you open a document, for example, this one here, and at the same time you identify something in another document, and in another document, you can see here at the top that we have 1, 2, 3 documents open, but you just see one, okay? If you want to see all of them together, go here. This is the first document. Go here, click on and say new tab group. I want to see this information on the left. Now you see 2 documents at the same time, and you can be, okay, creating hyperlinks all the time, defining relations, and you say here, I want to see this document, okay, but now, down, okay? The same, you can keep on working, defining and defining more relations. Okay, and well, this is all from my part because it is 9:38. I'm really sorry. Okay, well, Ramani, thank you so much to invite me, and well, I hope that this is something that you really need for your studies and for your analysis. And well, I hope to see you in a following webinar. Thank you so much to be here. Thank you.